My name is Cheech, and today we're telling the story about the baby fat minnow.
That's a big brown.
So a lot of people don't know this about me, but I'm a huge conventional bass angler. I freaking love it. And there was one fall where we were catching all kinds of bass. It was like the first day of the duck hunt or something. I remember because all the duck hunters were pissed off. It was way too warm anywhere. They weren't shooting anything. So anyway, I was throwing a bluegill colored spinnerbait. If you don't know what that is, Google it. It's a wacky looking umbrella looking lure. And we were just hammering bass. And so what happened was I lipped a bass, got it on the deck of the bass boat, and it puked out all these little minnows, and they were almost transparent. And the little gills and veins in these minnows looked just like purple crystal flash. And so that started jogging my memory. Through conventional angling, it gave me an idea to tie a fly that was very, very translucent and small, like those that I saw puked out on the bass boat deck. All right, so when I got back to the shop, there wasn't any dubbing that would do this, right? So I started going to craft stores, I started going to Walmart, I started going all over the place to try to find some sort of dubbing or material that would look kind of colorful but go very, very translucent when it got wet. And it took me like a year to dial in Bruiser Blend. But Bruiser Blend was kind of designed to make these little minnows. Well, fast forward along, I tied a cool fly that was very translucent, tied out of this new dubbing called Bruiser Blend, and it was a great fly. It was a little bit bigger, tied on a saltwater hook, started catching plenty of fish on that one. And then there was a trip coming up to our beloved Strawberry Reservoir. Strawberry Reservoir is where we spend a lot of time, and Strawberry Reservoir famously used to suck because it was so choked with chubs. And so the DWR in Utah made a lot of changes to the regs to help the cutthroat be more encouraged to eat chubs. And so, and it was through a slot limit. So all the big ones stayed in. But what happened was you'd have all these voracious cutthroat close to the edges, and they would kind of wait in the weed lines and everything for a little minnow to go darting across the top of the weeds or whatever. And so a lot of times a cutthroat would come out and look at your fly and turn away and then come back and look again and then turn away and come back and look again. Kind of like when I have like a hamburger at my desk and Brigham's hungry. I'd say, no, this is my food. You can go eat your Lunchable. Anyway, I wanted to make a fly that was very, very realistic. So if one of those cutthroat got up close to it, it would just freaking smash this thing. So I tied up a more simplified version of a low fat minnow. I tied, I think, 2 of them that night before the trip. And guess who I went fishing with? Okay, you're out. Go. So learned a few things about Brigham that day. Is he could cast further than 25 feet, which I was very impressed with, and he was a good angler. All right, so we get in a bay, and the stupid fly that Brigham likes the most, the thin mint. It's a great fly, but in our videos all the time Brigham says, hey Cheech, you know what fly would work? You know, I haven't caught a fish in 30 seconds, so he's trying to give me, you know, pointers, and it's always the thin mint. Well, guess what, Brig? Screw off. He's fishing a thin mint, and he goes up on me like 7-1. You know how I know? Because he's keeping score. Like he's back in Little League, you know, the last time he could dominate a sport was T-ball, probably. So Brigham's up 7-1, and he's telling me about it. Well, what he doesn't realize, we're still in the bottom of the first inning, okay? So since I'm driving the boat, I take it clear across the lake, and I knew I had these 2 little flies that were just gonna absolutely smack fish. One had a flash body, and one had a marabou body. I took the one with the marabou body, and I started fishing that one. But that was the second one ever tied. The first ever baby fat minnow had a flash body. Well, that flash body, number 1 of 1, got into Brigham's grubby little hands. You know why? Because somehow Cheech turned 7-1 into, what was it, like 15-7. and they were all eating this new baitfish fly, okay? So Brigham takes the flash one and he starts catching fish, and we caught every big fish on this shoreline on this new fly. And it was funny because it looked so realistic when it was in the water. I took it out and I put it in my hand and I showed Brigham. I said, Brig, I bet if I took a picture of this, we could get like 3,000 likes on Instagram, just joking around. Sure enough, I took a picture, posted it because we were by the highway and we had service, and we got a lot of likes. Anyway, fast forward from that day, I was able to refine the fly a little bit, and Curtis and I went out the next weekend and duplicated the same trip, okay? So, and at this point, the Baby Fat Minnow has caught fish all over the world. I've caught a tarpon on a Baby Fat Minnow. It's the coolest fly. We do have tutorials on how to tie it. We have tutorials on just how to do the head. So we've gone to the nines on this fly. The coolest thing though is last year for Christmas, Brig and Chance framed the #1 of 1 Baby Fat Minnow and gave it back to me. And it was after me asking nicely like 800 times. So that's how you get a gift out of those two. Anyway, what I like to do with the Baby Fat Minnow is it fishes great as a little chub, red side shiner, a baby bluegill, any of that kind of stuff. Just change the colors to suit your needs, keeping this one thing in mind. Bait fish are very washed out. You don't need bright colors on them. Keep in mind, I was fishing baby bluegill pattern and they were almost transparent. So keep it slim, keep it sparse, keep it small. The way I like to fish it is there's really no wrong way to fish it. You can fish it in a river, in a lake, just anywhere you have fish that eat other fish, which is literally everywhere. That's where you should fish the Baby Fat Minnow.